So Drew Martin, first of all, we looked at your title. Do you have all those words on your business card? Do you get paid by the word on the title?
I wish. I'm sad to tell you that I don't even have business cards yet. I hit the ground running and haven't even placed the order.
Well, you can't, because I'm not sure the budget will allow you to print that business card with that many words on it. But to be serious about it, you have had a very diverse career in college athletics between Texas A&M and TCU, and you started with the Big 12 office. You've been in 20 years, and now you've been here 6 months. And your reputation has been to provide some enhanced game day experiences for fans. What are some of the novel things you've done since you got here?
You know, I think the two biggest that have gained so much of the exposure are Bevo Boulevard, where we closed down San Jack, the street that runs just to the west of the stadium, and turned that into more of a carnival atmosphere. You know, with food trucks and sponsor activations and inflatables for kids, and really the concept with that and Longhorn City Limits, which is a concert series that happens before football games, the concept was giving people a reason to come to campus. Out of the gates, it was amazing to see how many people really showed up for that first game against Tulsa and packed that boulevard. By the time that the team got here 2 hours prior to kickoff, it was so full it was almost a single file line for the guys to walk down the street to get into the stadium. And what a great way to welcome the team in.
You're one of the first openly gay men in an upper administration post in college athletics. What's it been like to go through that evolution in an industry that traditionally has been slow to embrace that?
That's something that it took me a long time to get to. I struggled through that in my 20s to come to terms even with myself as that crossroads between, you know, knowing that I was a gay man, but also knowing that I work in an industry where I didn't see any gay men. Yeah. And so could those two things coexist? And finally reached a point where you know, I had convinced myself early on that those couldn't exist, so I just stayed in the closet and kept that very hidden, to a point where that was doing so much internal, you know, psyche damage to me as who I am as an individual, that I had to make the choice to come out and risk being told, there's the door, you know, we don't have room for you here. And fortunately, and to my pleasant surprise, I was fully embraced and have been embraced at Texas A&M, have been embraced at TCU, have been embraced at the University of Texas. And really it has become a non-issue for me, for my husband. I got married 3 years ago. I'm watching sport change and embrace, and if you look at the history, sport has been that great social equalizer. You know, whether we talk about, you know, race relations, or whether we talk about, you know, gender equality, and certainly now LGBT and what we do with the transgender community now has become a hot topic item as well. But I'm thrilled to watch it progress, and I'm proud to have been on the forefront of that change.
Maybe it's also a commentary on the power of sports to be able to allow you to act as an inspiration, not just of what you've done, but how you've positioned it and how you've characterized it from your perspective. Talk about that for a minute.
So for me, you know, sport, we preach, you know, this mentality of, you know, one team, one heartbeat. It's this locker room. It's us against the world. It's a family. It's this, and so it creates this oneness. And while that's a really, really positive thing, one of the negative aspects of it is if you are different than. If you are in a locker room full of oneness, but you are an anomaly in that oneness, it can create some friction there. But a lot of the student athletes that I've had the pleasure of knowing and working with over the last almost decade, they have come to find that that is true regardless of their identity, that they are still in that family, that they are still part of that one heartbeat. It just might be that they're a little bit different than everybody else in the room, and that's perfectly okay.
Have you thought about what the NCAA and what the institution, but also what college sports can do in the future?
Absolutely. And I serve on the leadership committee of the NCAA Common Ground program, and that specifically is aimed at the intersectionality between LGBT people and people of faith at college institutions to be able to facilitate dialogue and provide protection and inclusion and welcoming of people of deep religious faith and LGBT people within the athletics programs. And what does that look like? At the very base layer, we provide the constructs for conversation on these campuses, so they're using the correct language, they're understanding each other from each vantage point, and creating that common ground to have those conversations. Be able to have that type of dialogue and that type of dialect that provides that inclusive environment. And I think in 10 years, my hope is that it's a non-issue, that it doesn't really matter. Gay, straight, transgender, black, white, it's all sport, it's all athlete, it's all about the competition and not at all about the differences. In fact, I hope that we embrace the differences. I think you elevate to a completely different level when you free yourself from those constraints.
5 years from now, you're an AD. Where is it?
Where will they have me? Who calls first?
At your investiture as the AD, we get your first interview. Deal?
Deal.
Thank you.
How about that?
Really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Absolutely.